Something I wanted to mention also, I guess this would be a good time. This idea of American fascism, which I've talked about for so long, I understand that. But it's really spreading in this country under the bullshit heading of patriotic education. That's what it's being called now. That's what this little bastard in Florida, Ron DeSantis, and it's what the lieutenant governor in Texas, Dan Patrick, and it's what this Nazi son of a bitch senator in Ohio, J.D. Vance. These three are in the forefront of the so-called leaders, these Christian fascists who've declared war on institutions of public learning and higher learning. And they are identifying schools and colleges as centers of, quote, unpatriotic education, end quote. Henry Giroux wrote a piece at Truth Out, and in the piece he says this, quote, most far-right Republicans fear higher education because they see it as a bulwark against their authoritarianism and therefore see students as a threat to their propaganda machines and fascist politics. And as a result, the right wing has kicked into overdrive in an attempt to target educational institutions as a site for policing dissent, eliminating unions, indoctrinating faculty and students, and for normalizing white Christian nationalism, white supremacy, and pedagogies of repression. God damn. Huh? Yeah. Now, a clear example of that, one of many, but one that's got an awful lot of publicity, is this Christian Nazi in Florida, the governor, Ron DeSantis, his efforts to take over this university, the New College of Florida, which is a very progressive school, college, very open to people of either clearly identifiable gender or people whose gender is not clearly identifiable. Trans people, gay people, lesbian people, not gay, not lesbian, not trans, just the whole spectrum of gender identification, which really, when you really get down to it, that's another issue that is so deeply personal. Just like a woman's right to privacy where it concerns her reproductive organs. Privacy. Private. But Christian fascists don't want any of that shit. Oh, no. Privacy? What are you talking about? So what DeSantis is trying to do is turn this New College of Florida into a nest, a rattlesnake nest of this white Christian fascism. As Truth Out points out, DeSantis wants to remodel New College after that shithole up in Michigan I've told you about many times, Hillsdale College, that private Christian liberal arts college that has, it's been a font, Hillsdale has, of this role in shaping and getting out the ideas and strategies that power the Christian fascist right in this country. Hillsdale College, there was a very interesting article about Hillsdale in either this issue or last week's issue of the New Yorker magazine. And I thought the writer was very, very gentle in explaining what Hillsdale College is all about. But I grew up not very far from there. I know what Hillsdale College is. I know what it is trying to do. I know the poison that it's injecting into the so-called body politic in this country. It's a bad place. It's a place of Christian fascism. So the maggots, the Christian fascists in this country, they understand fully that education is, in fact, the most powerful tool of resistance when it comes to creating a public that is neither informed or willing to struggle to keep democracy alive. And I think that's one of the reasons that the two Justins in the Tennessee legislature had such a profound effect in what they were saying. Because here were two young men who are willing, putting themselves on the line to keep democracy alive. And yes, the white woman who was with them, I don't mean to minimize her role. She didn't know she was going to be declared persona grata, while the other ones were personas non grata. I get that. But this Christian fascism that is trying to destroy education is so observable, so evident, so right in your face in this right-wing war on education. Because what they're trying to do, and Trump's Secretary of Education, what the hell was her name? She was, her family's big supporters, money-wise, of Hillsdale College. But they want to turn higher education and public education into centers for this Christian fascist indoctrination. And they want to destroy higher education as what it has, what it was designed to be, a tool for democracy. And a tool for the public good. Isn't that what public education is supposed to be about? Huh? But the Christian fascists don't want any of that, because once you have educated people, once you have people who believe in democracy, that absolutely and utterly and completely destroys this fascistic power of top-down authority. I don't care if it's in government or religion. So the whole idea of these Christian fascists is to destroy public education and replace it with Christian fascism. Replace it with ignorance. And these extremists in the Republican Party, now, you know my feeling about the Republican Party. It's a corpse. It doesn't exist anymore. But it's still being used as an identifier of the particular brand of a politician. So the extremists, the maggots, the Christian terrorists in the Republican Party fully embrace both this Christian nationalism and white supremacy. At the same time, as Truthout points out, they simultaneously support a culture and a society in which the distinction between lies and truth disappear. That's one of the reasons that the orange fascist Donald Trump is their hero. Trump couldn't tell time with a watch on unless it was a lie. That's all he can do is lie. Oy. What a pathetic, terrible situation we're in. Don't you agree? And don't you wonder how how this happened? Why? How we went to sleep and allowed this to happen? Also, what the Christian fascists would like to see would be a disappearance of the idea of domestic terrorism. This is not domestic terrorism to these bastards. This is the mighty sword of Jesus, where it concerns destroying education or social justice institutions or any public or private institution that is trying to resist this tidal wave of authoritarian bullshit. So the targets now, the targets are intellectualism, dissidents, educators, and the Secretary of Education, who I couldn't think of, Betsy DeVos, obviously. Sorry. But this is what she tried to do during her reign as Trump's Secretary of Diseducation. This is what she tried to do: destroy public education. And as Truthout points out, let me quote this. What the far-right GOP politicians fear about education is that it is the one site where young people learn the responsibilities of being critical and engaged citizens. As Mara Donegan argues, education at all levels are foundational to democracy, and this is the reason why DeSantis and the far right are attacking education. End quote. And it's also true that schools and universities, if they're done right, are laboratories. It's places where young people, and I guess I'm talking more now about the college level education, where young people find out what their own capacities are and expose themselves to the experiences of others, some still alive, some dead generations ago, but writers, scientists, political scientists. And this is what the Christian fascists can't tolerate, because it's in school, in public education or private, where these young people learn that social hierarchies do not necessarily correspond to personal merit. Huh? And it's in school where they discover through the study of history the horrific mistakes and crimes of the past, which is one of the reasons that the Christian fascists will do everything they can to prevent such studies from occurring. They label it critical race theory. That's one of the targets. Because critical race theory is just that, only it's not theory, it's fact. This is what happened here. This is what we did to our black brothers and sisters. This is the pain and misery and chaos and death and destruction that enslavement caused. And it was white people in this country who employed slavery. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.